I often have people contact me asking if they should get a divorce. Now, obviously, I cannot answer that question. That's for you and you alone to decide. But what I have for you today are 12 questions for you to consider to help you hopefully land on a little bit of clarity for your particular situation. The first question, are you or your children in danger? If that is the case, your safety has to be your first priority. You need an exit plan and you need a safe place to go. At that point, then you can go ahead and consider if divorce is the correct option for you. Are you quitting or are you letting go? Quitting is when you're hesitant to put the work in, or maybe there's a challenge that maybe you're afraid to address. Or perhaps you've made mistakes in your marriage and you're not willing to own up to those. Quitting is often born out of fear. Letting go, though, is different. Letting go comes from acceptance. Letting go says, I recognize that my marriage is not the marriage that it once was. At this point, we've grown apart. We have different needs. We have different values. We have different interests. And maybe it was good, but it's not good anymore. People change. Circumstances change, and not every marriage can adapt. Sometimes the best thing you can do is accept that it's over and let it go. Are you putting at least as much energy into the marriage as you are into your escape plans? You know, it's natural for all of us to think that the grass is greener. We look over there and everything seems so ideal, where in our own lives we see all of the dents and the scratches. But if all of your attention is focused outside the marriage, well, it's no wonder that the marriage isn't satisfying right now. You're not nurturing it. You're not giving it what it needs to thrive. So before you make the decision to leave, make sure that you're watering your own grass before you write it off as dead. Have you made any changes in yourself? We often blame others when we are unhappy. We say if they only listened better, or if they were less grouchy or more attentive, then everything would be okay. But you can't change somebody else's actions. What you can do is change your response, change your perspective. So much of negativity in a marriage comes down to patterns of behavior: push and pull, nag and retreat, blame and contempt. If you can alter your responses, you have the potential of changing that entire pattern and even the marriage. So many people use divorce as a catalyst for personal growth. Why wait? You can start that now. Have you informed your partner about your concerns and your feelings? The first time that they're hearing about that should not be on the day that you bring up divorce. It is not fair to your partner for you to be unhappy and to hold that inside. Now, I know it's hard to have those difficult conversations. I know you don't want to see them hurt. But by keeping it in, you're only allowing that hurt to build. Ultimately, you are not responsible for your partner's well-being, but you are responsible for being truthful and transparent with them. Are you on a snipe hunt for happiness? So much of life comes down to inertia. We do what we do because it's what we're doing. And so we can find ourselves in situations where one day we wake up and realize that we're not happy. And we blame it on our job, our environment, and our marriages. But really, what we're not happy with is ourselves. And it's so easy to find that temporary happiness when we have validation and appreciation from others. And so maybe you're looking outside the marriage thinking that that's what's going to bring you joy. But it's a snipe hunt, because true happiness is only found from within. Is there addiction on either side? If you struggle with addiction, your first priority has to be your sobriety. It is not fair to place that burden on your partner, nor should you feel obligated to stay with somebody who undermines your sobriety. If your partner is an addict, regardless of your decision about divorce, make sure to learn to recognize your behaviors and patterns that developed alongside the addiction. Are you falling for the sunk cost fallacy? According to the sunk cost fallacy, we stay with decisions simply because we spent a lot of time or money making those commitments. And so we may end up staying in a marriage, not because it's good now, but simply because we've spent so many years in it and we feel like ending it would be a waste. But stay for the marriage that you have now. Stay for the marriage that you believe you can build in the future, not simply for the years you've put in the past. Has there been betrayal on either side? If you have been betrayed, you may find yourself grasping onto your spouse out of a fear of losing the marriage. Or you may act with blind rage, lashing out at them. Betrayal is immensely painful. Give yourself some time before making the decision about divorce. And also understand that if your partner is not willing to end the affair or not willing to do the repair work, that decision may be made for you. If you were the unfaithful one, work to understand the motivation behind your actions. What were you seeking? Or perhaps you were running away from some truth. If you fail to understand why you made this choice, this marriage and any future relationships don't stand a chance. Are you aware of the impact of divorce on children? Some people say that divorce absolutely destroys children's lives. Others say the opposite. And the truth is somewhere in between. Because yes, divorce does impact kids, some more than others. But you know what? So does seeing their parents unhappy. Only you know which is going to be less impactful for your kids. The best gift you can give a child is a stable and loving home life. Maybe that means you work to repair the marriage, or maybe it means you leave it. Is there a lack of passion and intimacy? We often ask too much of marriage. We want it to be our safe space, our security, while also looking to it for passion and excitement. But it can't be both of those things at the same time. Passion comes from risk. It comes from seeing your partner as an individual with his or her own interests and decisions and autonomy. If we feel too secure, like we know our partners better than they know themselves, there is no passion, there is no excitement. Part of maintaining excitement in a marriage is accepting that risk. Sometimes, too, the intimacy is lacking because we've built walls out of a fear of being hurt. Intimacy has to start with vulnerability. Do not blame your partner for a lack of connection if you are refusing to let them in. And then finally, are you afraid of being alone? A fear of being alone is no reason to enter into a relationship, and it's certainly no reason to stay in one. Loneliness makes for a terrible matchmaker. It simply selects and then holds on to the first person that it sees. And so often to our own detriment, we grasp onto people that aren't good for us. And you know what? Being happy alone is so much better than being unhappy in a partnership. I don't envy any of you grappling with this decision. I'm actually so grateful now that my first marriage ended with a text message and that I never had to ask myself these hard questions. So I hope that you can find some clarity, and I wish the best for you and your family, no matter what you decide.